This afternoon, calls deepen for a legislation to compel health professionals to provide emergency care to the sick as MPs demand urgent solutions to the no-bed syndrome problem.
Also this hour, National Peace Council warns that recent spate of violence in senior high schools poses a serious threat to students' safety and integrity of Ghana's education system.
Later, the Minerals Income Investment Fund is set to recover over 50 million cedis in annual revenue losses. We'll find out how they intend to do this.
It's News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Bagbin has tasked the Health Committee to make further inquiries into the death of the hit-and-run victim who was refused emergency medical attention by 3 hospitals due to unavailability of beds. He says needless deaths of citizens must not be entertained, directing severe sanctions against persons involved. MPs delivered passionate remarks after the minority leader raised the issue, asking the police to track and apprehend the driver who caused the tragedy.
I therefore call upon the Ghana Police Service to deploy every resource, every investigative technique, and every intelligence capable at their disposal to track down and apprehend this individual. I call on the Health Committee to be immediately empowered to summon the chief executive officers and heads of emergency units of the 3 hospitals involved.
Speaker, when we got there, my younger brother went in and drew their attention. They just told him, send him to another place. Speaker, it took my wife to tell them that the man lying in there is an MP. Then the rush in came. So the kernel of this issue sometimes is the discrimination by these professionals. We have overly concentrated our health facilities in Accra.
The most disappointing part is that no bed could simply mean that the staff are not willing to work. A shift is about to end and someone is not willing to admit a new patient and do all the documentation. So turn the patient away. No bed could mean that the doctor is afraid to work or is tired and feels that if he touch that patient and the patient pass away, duty of care is established legally because he has touched the patient. So see no evil. May I stand on this to appeal to my colleague health workers. Look at that next patient, that it could be you, it could be your father, it could be your mother. It doesn't have to be another doctor calling you before you create a bed. Our ambulance service, by their acts and by their function, may also need to be reviewed. Currently, they do scoop and run. What it means is, at an accident scene, they can pick you up, but they can't even set a simple IV line.
I'll direct our committee on health to take all the reports that will come from the ministry, the Kolobu Hospital, or wherever, and go deeply into it. We have to take control. We need to inquire further into the matter, and we need to hold people accountable. This is one of the needless deaths we have experienced in this country.
Let's speak now to MP for Lambusi, Professor Titus Bayo. He's also a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. Prof, good afternoon and thank you so much for joining us here. But I mean, speaking on the floor of Parliament, you painted a picture of possible scenarios that could have resulted in the victim being denied healthcare. Realistically, what timelines are we looking at in providing short to long-term solutions?
Good afternoon to the viewers. And let me use your platform once again to express our deepest condolences to the family of the loss, this tragic loss of such a vibrant young man. Well, you ask in terms of timelines, multiple things are happening to resolve the situation and to make sure that another patient never dies the same way. So at the political level, where I am the board chairman, we have taken immediate action. You may have heard that we have interdicted some of our staff for thorough investigation. It doesn't mean they are culpable, they are guilty, but they were in the center of it and we feel their presence there while investigation ongoing may not be the best. And when the full investigation is done, we will take the appropriate actions if there need be to deter others from unacceptable attitudinal behavior. At the same hospital, we have also instituted, the hospital management has directed that under no circumstance should the patient be turned away from the emergency, whether full or not full, without trial and without prior approval of the highest level. So the head of the emergency must be aware of what the situation is. The patient must be stabilized and they need to spend somewhere. Then there must be an arrangement to ensure that there's continuity of care. So I can say that between now and whenever we bring our intermediate to long-term solution, I don't expect any patient arriving in Kolebu emergency should be turned away without being triaged. So that's the immediate action. Intermediate to long-term, the Minister of Health has been working on something, which I'm hopeful that when it is done, he will communicate to the public. But the summary of that is to ensure that there is a comprehensive management, bed management in this country. That there is an emergency command center where all requests for admission like this will be routed through. And with the use of AI and IT, they will be able to tell real-time bed availability around the region and the capital and the major referral centers, and then patients can then be directed there. That, I think, is a game changer, and I commend the Minister highly for that thought and for putting together a committee. The committee has been working on this before, and unfortunately, they have not finished their work, and this has happened. So I'm hoping that this will quicken their pace, and hopefully they can bring a comprehensive solution to this.
I see, Prof. And, you know, I refer back to the interdiction of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital staff. We know that the GMA president has expressed some reservations on this. Do you fear that there could be fight back from the Medical Association?
Well, there will not be a fight back from the Medical Association that I know. I'm still a member of the Medical Association. I was its General Secretary, and the Medical Association never condone people to be negligent of their duty. If their member is found foul, they will never go to protect the person. What the Medical Association demands is fairness. It is also the reason why the management never put any name. We have interdicted the people, all right, so that investigation can go on. But we have not presumed that they are guilty. And we have made contact with them, explained the situation to them. It is part of the disciplinary procedure in the hospital and in the Ghana Health Service that if someone is alleged to have committed a crime or not a crime, an infraction of the disciplinary code that is serious in nature, the person can be interdicted. If you think that the person's presence at work may interfere with your investigation, the person can be interdicted. So there's plenty ground for the interdiction.
I see. When will investigations conclude in the Kolebu case?
I'm unable to tell because this is a management function, but I do know that they reported to the board. And
there were no timelines associated with the interdiction and the investigations?
There are timelines. All I'm saying is that will have to come from Kolebu management. I sit on the board. The board was briefed on the management decisions, and we approved them.
Very
so
well.
if you're looking for a timeline, you'll be speaking to the CEO or the PRO for them to give you further details.
Very well.
But the board was briefed on all that has happened, and we endorse the actions of management.
Indeed, we would hope that it will be swift. But I want to understand the explanation of interdiction here. What does it mean in this case?
The explanation
of interdiction here. When you say that these officers have been interdicted, what does that mean?
Well, it is spelled out clearly in our code of conduct. An officer being interdicted means the officer is not supposed to come to work. She's supposed to leave the space and make herself available to go to the disciplinary procedures. First of all, it doesn't mean that you are guilty. If you are exonerated at the end, you return to work. If you are not exonerated, then the proper disciplinary measures that are supposed to come in from suspension all the way to dismissal can then be applied. That's the ultimate. And if there's criminality, then things can even go to the other level in the law court. But the interdiction is that step aside, let the investigation continue. And in this particular instance, some of them are senior enough that if they are there, their presence may interfere with the investigation.
Very well, Prof. I'm hoping that you have information around this. Is this a no work, no pay interdiction? But while you answer that question, I also want us to look back at Parliament, because when you delivered that passionate contribution on the floor of Parliament yesterday, we know the Speaker then responded, concluding discussions that the matter be referred to the Health Committee for investigations. With your professional opinion, what should be the reference point as far as the committee's investigations are?
Okay, so in terms of the committee's investigations, it is going to be based on the outcome. The minister himself has set up a high-powered committee led by Professor Akosa, a revered pathologist, former Director General of the Ghana Health Service, who knows the system well, to evaluate the whole thing. Because, as you know, it wasn't only in Kolebu, he was turned away from other places. So, Speaker has directed his committee to be seized with the outcome of that committee's investigation, and the investigation being done by Kolebu, put all together and then make recommendation to the Speaker. So that is the point of reference for Speaker's referral. And he has also further requested that, based on all what comes, it is his opinion that we should get to a point where we can legislate emergency care to ensure that, because what is not written in law, people cannot be punished for it. So if it is a need to do that, then we have to do it.
I see. And then the other bit, is it a no work, no pay interdiction?
Well, the service rules, if you are on interdiction, I think you are given 50% of pay.
I see.
Whilst you are off for the period.
Prof, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time. Professor Titus Bayu is MP for Lambusi, and we've been discussing the hit-and-run victim who was denied emergency care leading to his death.
Well, it's a subject we're staying on because government says it is strengthening emergency services, and that's remaining a top priority as Ghana prepares to roll out its free primary healthcare policy nationwide. Speaking at a clinical care retreat, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akorea, noted that while progress has been made in expanding access to care, emergency response, particularly in remote and deprived districts, still requires significant improvement.
Health workers across the country are currently being sensitized and equipped ahead of the implementation of the free primary health care policy, which is designed to bring basic health care closer to underserved communities. It is expected to prioritize early diagnosis and management of non-communicable diseases such as hypertension and diabetes. For many families, early intervention could mean avoiding life-threatening complications or the financial burden of long-term treatment. Officials say part of that preparation includes improving ambulance services, referral systems, and the readiness of frontline facilities to handle critical cases. A clinical care retreat organized by the Institutional Care Division of the Ghana Health Service is being held to properly orient regional and district health directors to ensure smooth implementation of the policy. Dr. Samuel Kaba Akorea is the Director General of the Ghana Health Service.
We want to strengthen the emergency services as we know, is one area we really have a lot to do. When it comes to emergencies, normally we need to look at the pre-hospital stage and then the hospital stage, and you can't delink them. We are planning to make sure that every health worker, not doctors, not nurses alone, every health worker, from the cleaner to the consultant, at least they will be able to do basic life support activities.
Dr. Kaba stressed that early detection and swift intervention will be key to saving lives as the policy rolls out.
The leaders of the health facilities, we need to have our mindset very well oriented when it comes to the benefits of these projects, so that we just don't take them as one of those projects that you do and in 2 minutes, after 2-3 years, they face off. There should be things that should become part and parcel of our health service and our healthcare delivery system.
The free primary healthcare policy forms part of Ghana's drive to achieve universal health coverage by 2030.
Let's move away from that. And the National Peace Council has condemned a recent spate of violent incidents in senior high schools across the country, warning that the trend poses a serious threat to student safety and the integrity of Ghana's education system. In a statement issued today, the council referenced several cases recorded within the past week, including an assault that left a student hospitalized, an alleged sexual assault involving a female student, and a stabbing at a zonal sports festival in Kufuridia, and reported attacks on teachers during separate incidents in the Greater Accra region. While acknowledging steps taken by the Ghana Education Service and arrests made by the police service, the council is urging swift investigations and stronger preventive measures, particularly during large school events. Kwesi Yirenchi Boateng is Public Relations Manager of the National Peace Council. Let's engage him on this statement and the concerns they have. I appreciate you joining us, Kwesi. Beyond the statement, really, for a lot of people, this has degenerated into levels not seen before. Is there an engagement the Peace Council is looking to begin to embark on with senior high school students following what has been this increased spate of violence?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to you and your listeners. The National Peace Council is most appreciative of this opportunity. Well, to look at these issues, as a council, we studied the trend in the past. So we've been doing school engagement, sensitizing the students in some of the hotspot schools or schools with histories of violence. And I think it's an effort and exercise we'll continue doing. We've been doing that through our school, our regional offices throughout the country. In Accra, last year, I think we engaged over 15 schools and counting. That is those of us in Accra. And our regions have done similar, hitting over 200 schools. So it is an effort the council will not relent on. We are continuing with our peace message and interacting with the students. Beyond that, we've also created peace clubs that will help us to interact with them and help them understand that there is need to coexist peacefully. We need not fight or stab each other, but they can use non-violence means to seek redress to our differences. So this is what the council have been doing,
right,
and will continue doing it in the course of time.
Right. In your analysis of the incidents that we've seen, what is the causal factor? What is allowing or pushing these students to increasingly want to resort to violence as a response to anything?
So, a snapshot of it will include causes would really be indiscipline is one. Another one is the rivalry in the students. And then one other issue will be, of course, during this sports competition, they want to show the bravado that, this is the school, we are the school. If you joke, we'll beat you and the stuff. So, to this is yes, this is what is actually seen on the ground. Indiscipline, rivalry, and unnecessary show of bravado by some schools.
Right. We've seen a decision by the Ghana Education Service to suspend the Inter-Schools Festival and what have you in a number of the regions where we've witnessed this incident. In the interim, is that the best way to go? And what would you say should be the medium to long-term efforts at fully tackling this head-on? There are those who've made argument as to a return to capital punishment. There are those who say the schools or the heads need a bit more in terms of authority to enforce discipline. Where does the Peace Council stand in solutions for the now and the long term?
So for Peace Council, last year, with I think it started from 2021, we did sign, supervise or facilitate the signing of an MOU that encourages religious tolerance in school. So I think with us, we are approaching this incident on that same approach, stringent, appealing to GS and all stakeholders in the education sector. Let's sit down, talk, consider all the parameters and develop policies that will actually safeguard our schools and make them sanctuaries for learning and peaceful coexistence and harmony. So this is what we propose. The stakeholders will sit down, let's go and come out with plausible policies that will help our schools.
Right then, we'll leave it here. I'm sure there'll be a bit more in terms of time and a conversation in generality to seek to deal with this. Kwesi Irinchi is the Public Relations Manager at the National Peace Council, who's joined us this afternoon for a conversation.
Now, the Minerals Income Investment Fund is aiming to recover over 50 million in annual revenue loss and also ensure compliance and increase in investment in the sector. The CEO is visiting some quarry sites to ascertain challenges they are facing and how best the fund can strategize with them to produce beyond the current levels. In 2020, the country realized only 3.8 million cedis in royalties when it could generate in excess of 100 million cedis. Let's join George Queenan, who is with the MIIF, for more details on the subject. Hi, George. What else can you tell us? I will try again with George, who is visiting the quarry sites with the MIF CEO. George, what can you report?
Thank you so much for having me, and a very good afternoon to all our cherished viewers. So I'm currently at Shy House, and the control of the CEO is actually me. So we have access to company limited. I've been told to our RCP, which is a public one. And RCP was the very first company that was involved in the construction of a smart school in Ghana. That was in Timor incarnation. So much of construction facilities they've taken the parts and they're part of them and one gradually.
Right, George, you'd have to reposition yourself so we can hear you. We can hardly. Let's try that and see.
Okay, so like I mentioned, we're actually at Shy House.
It's the same. We'll probably have to call you again for a bit more on that story. In the meantime, we know that cocoa politics is still raging hot across public galleries and in media airwaves. The decision by the Mahama administration to slash prices per bag for the cocoa farmer has been heavily contested, from protests in the regions to a first-of-its-kind protest at the premises of Cocoa Board in Accra. The general sentiment has been one of uncertainty and discomfort. Cocoa sector has for the longest time seen in our history and has served as a very good source of forex for this country. We'll tell you a bit more because Moina is by the magic wall with all the numbers to share with us. The details, the numbers, the facts behind cocoa's contribution to our economy. the challenges cocoa is facing now, and perhaps the window to exit these problems that currently plague the sector. Maona, what are we learning?
Right, I'm not doing this alone, Kamini. Mr. Ebenezer Nyako, who is Executive Director of EN Analytics as well, has joined us in studio because there's been a long-drawn conversation. Over the last 3 weeks, maximum more than 3 weeks, right? As to prices being given to farmers, where we've come from, and all of that, and the argument as to whether or not farmers are being shortchanged, who has provided farmers a better deal, and all of you, and the strategy within the cocoa sector has resulted in addresses by the finance minister and a general change in approach by the government. Today we're on the dashboard and seeking to paint a proper picture based on facts and figures as to what the situation is and whether or not the ordinary Ghanaian farmer, since the course of time, has stood to benefit from everything that plays out. And so Mr. Nyako is here with us, and we're going to get straight into it. And we're starting with this one because this is a conjunction of Ghana and Ivory Coast and how much cocoa we produce each year. We're the two leading producers of cocoa each year. And there's an interesting story as to why this is important.
Yes, so this graph sets the background for the discussion. So it gives the context of whatever has happened in the last 2 and 3 years. You know, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire combined produce about 65% of the cocoa. So what happened in the last 2 years is dependent on what actually happened in the 2023-2024 season.
Crop season.
You realize that the 2022-2023, the two countries combined produce about 3 million metric tons. The following year, it went down to 2.3 million metric tons.
So there's a deficit of about 700,000.
700,000
metric tons.
And that is what triggered panic and speculation in the world. So let's look at the next graph. And this is what we are seeing. Now, you look at this graph, and what we are seeing is that historically, Ghana's cocoa production or the pricing on the world market has hovered between 2,500 and 3,000.
Absolutely.
Historically, and that is what we are seeing
along the pricing window since
historically 50 years. So this volatility that we are seeing
and this dates back as far as 2003.
Yes.
All the way to 2020.
Exactly. Even when you go back decades,
even beyond this
period has never happened before. And it all happened because of
we saw that significant drop in that.
Okay, so that 700,000 drop is what triggered the speculation, the fear, and the panic. And prices started rising.
And it shot up pretty impressively. We were around 10,000 per ton.
Yes,
right?
to point that, I mean, even it reached $11,000 per ton. So that is what this whole thing is about.
But our production levels began to increase, and then it began to bring us problems. But let's look at what this is. And there's been a lot of conversation as to what the farmer has been receiving vis-a-vis what the world market price has been. But we have the data here, and it suggests the farmer really, since time immemorial, has not been center in terms of everything that's played out in the cocoa sector.
Yeah, so now what I want to say is that Ghana's pricing regime was built for stability.
Absolutely.
But not for volatility. So the graph that we looked at, we realized that as long as prices were stable between $2,000 and $3,000 per ton, we were not having issues. The issue started when volatility
began to enter into the picture. Yeah.
And so this is what we are seeing. This has 3 graphs, and it shows whatever has happened in the last 3 years. The blue line is the monthly
average world market price
per ton. The red line is what is being paid to the cocoa farmer. And the gray dotted line is what the government sets at the beginning of each cocoa season. And you ask yourself, why is the government setting a stable price throughout the season when the world market prices
continues to fluctuate?
It's a very good question, but the point is that the government decided to implement that system to absorb the farmers from shocks and volatility in the world market. So if they set the price at a stable rate, the cocoa farmer can know and predict that at the beginning of this season, I am getting this amount. So what they pay the farmers is based on the dotted line, not on the world market. And that is the difference or what has created the current issue.
But we saw all of that come to a head when the world market price began to plummet. And I'm sure we'll get that in the next slide as well.
But so what we are seeing that because the world market price increased drastically, there was a windfall. Look at the distance between the blue and the red.
Yeah, significant windfall.
And that is what the margins that the governments, both the NPP and the NDC, made, hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, they have set the FOB price and they were paying the farmers a portion of that. And that is the cause of whatever we are seeing today. Now, there are two significant points in this graph. The first point is that in the 2025-2026 season,
which were currently
the current one, the government tried to correct, let's say, the
short-changing of farmers.
Okay.
For want of a better word,
exactly.
was certainly was short-changing of farmers.
Unfortunately, by the time they did that, already the world market price
began to tumble.
Was on the decline. It was crashing. So when they set it at $7,200, the world market price was actually at $8,000 per ton, on its way down. So by September 2025, there is a cross. This point where the two lines cross, at that point, the world market price was descending below what the government has promised the farmers. And that is what we call the fiscal crisis point. Okay, at that time, our eyes were so much on what was happening in Côte d'Ivoire that we forgot that the world market price was on the decline. Now, another crisis point is
January of this year.
Exactly. And at that point, we see that the red line is above the blue line. What it means is that
how much we are paying our cocoa farmers is above
the world market price. And the government could not sustain that that particular arrangement.
That's going to lead to obvious losses.
It is at this point that the president said, let us call a cabinet meeting, let us discuss, and let us take a drastic decision. And this is what happened. It was because of this.
And that resulted in the slashes that we've seen. But we also see actual producer price versus what the government of Ghana has been paying. And this follows through on what we were talking about in terms of how much, a percentage of what the farmers receive.
Exactly. Sometimes you hear that the government or maybe politicians in general saying, we are paying the farmers so much of, let's say 70%, 60%.
We give the farmers 70%. Someone says we give 30%.
FOB price. Yeah. The reason is that what they were paying the farmers was based on what the FOB price they have set at the beginning of the season, not based on the world pricing.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, you see that at the beginning of the 2024 January, they were paid, the farmer was getting, on average, around 30%. I think even in February or March, it was 23%. In terms of dollar-denominated transactions. So when they say that we are paying them so much, the blue line, it was because this was based on the FOB price they have set. But in terms of the world market price, it was very low. But it began to rise from the 2025-2026 season. So you can see that October, November, the farmer began to get something like 81%, 94%.
Because the prices were on their way down.
And then we see that from January 2026,
they were being paid more
than
world market prices.
So what it meant was that if the government had not halted and continued, the government has to go and borrow, either from the markets and then come and top up onto the world market price and pay our farmers.
And that would have made our beans as well not very what's the word I'm looking for? Our beans would have been too expensive.
Yes, but the farmers are saying that when you had the windfall, that's
a very important question.
That is their question. Yeah. When you had the windfall, what did you do with the money? So if it is going against you,
use that windfall to cushion us. And it's an important question. And so we see the average share of world market price received by farmers in 2024 and 2025. And we can say that between January to December of 2024, they received roughly 34%.
Exactly, very low. In terms of the windfall that came, the farmers just got 34% of that particular windfall.
But in January and December of 2025, that went up to 56%.
56. So that one was better than the 2024 January to December.
Final graph, and then I'll ask two more, and then I ask that all-important question in relation to what the strategy should be going forward. We see world market price, producer price under the new arrangements, which was seen. And what can you tell us about that as well?
Yeah, so under the, they have slashed the price to 2,500 per bag. And that translates into tons just around 3,800. So in effect, the government is paying virtually the world market price
currently
under the new arrangement. So the government is not making that much in terms of margins. Okay.
As we speak,
the new price, even the February
the 2,500 plus they are paying the farmers.
The government is not going to make anything much. The only difference is that we sell our cocoa at a premium, so sometimes there is a small margin on it. But based on the world market price,
we're not making anything at all.
No,
but the last one I want us to talk about is what the farmers have been receiving and its correlation with inflation. Because yes, you can say you've paid the farmer more than somebody has paid, but what is their purchasing power in relation to how much you are paying them currently? And we see that from January 2024 in comparison to August 2025, and the data is what does it say for persons who are watching?
Yeah, so the data on the left-hand side is how much the farmer is losing per each bag that they receive. So you can see that from the 2024-2025 season, you see that the gap is wider. What it means is that even though the farmer received a certain amount, it could not buy much. And that's what we are seeing. So for example, the red mark, it tells you that on average, they were losing 500 Ghana cedis per each bag amount that they received. And so in all, we realize that even though the farmers have agitated, they have not benefited that much. And the reason that they've not benefited that much is that this price hikes may not happen again, even in the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Because we call it a structural break. It may not happen again. And so they should have enjoyed much more than what they have so far.
When the price was peaked. But we're wrapping up. In terms of the new model we're seeking to approach everything in the cocoa sector, 50% processing and what have you, where does this leave us in terms of a way forward?
No, what I would say is that the government has to explain to them the implication of the new pricing formula, because it has implications. When you say that the farmer, maybe the new price should be based on the world pricing, it means that the farmers now will bear the risk directly, the market risk. If it falls, they suffer. If it goes up, they gain. So this has to be explained to them that if we are going this way, make sure that the government no longer absorb the risk, but we are transferring the risk directly to you. And the government, they have to stick with any formula they comes out with. I mean, we have seen it several times in this country.
Changing.
Whenever it goes against the government, then they come and try and reconfigure the formula. So they explain to them, the farmers, and then they should stick with the formula.
But farmers have not enjoyed. They didn't enjoy. From that windfall. I appreciate you joining us as well. Ebenezer Nyako is the executive director of EN Analytics. He will take us on to our very first break here on the bulletin. When we return, we're across the regions for you with Regional Hub. Stay with us.
It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub. And this year, we're taking it to another level. Ghana Village is bigger and better. So much to experience. Eat, drink, buy, do and learn. Our Ghana Village is bigger and better. So much to experience. Eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring. The best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all Media General platforms on Monday, 2nd March 2026 at 10 a.m. It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub. And this year, we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana village is bigger and better. So much to experience. Eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring. The best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all media general platforms on
Across the regions today, a concerned group of teachers and parents in Aglonga in the Volta region are calling for an immediate investigation into the conduct of the Aglonga District Director of Education. The aggrieved teachers and parents on Tuesday presented a petition to the DCE of the area accusing the District Education Director of charging illegal examination fees, mismanagement and bullying of teachers, citing his alleged conduct as a breach of the Teachers' Code of Conduct. Let's connect now with our correspondent, Faisal Abdul-Idrisu, for a bit more on this story. Faisal, what else can you tell us about this developing story?
The aggrieved teachers and parents are saying that the District Director of Education for Aglonga, Mr. Dominic Yao Tenado, has allegedly taken over the responsibility of certain end-of-term examination questions, mismanaging terminal examination charges and allocations that are supposed to be given to teachers. These fees is charging, which they say is illegal. They indicated yesterday that there are 52 basic schools in Aglonga district, and in some schools, the directorate is able to make at least 15,000 or 15,000. All these monies they are saying goes to a service provider, and they are alleging that the District Director of Education is benefiting from same. They are also accusing the Director of unlawful transfer of teachers, which they say is resulting in understaffing in some of the schools and affecting the overall performance of learners. They are demanding an immediate investigation, and where necessary, they are asking the authorities to ensure that compensations and restitution be made to the learners and teachers, and also adequate protection for the whistleblowers and teachers who they say are now facing threats of transfer and intimidation from the Director of Education. Let's have a listen to Mr. Albert Amaglo, who actually presented a petition to the district chief executive yesterday in Aglonga on behalf of the aggrieved parents and teachers.
Very well.
Certain end-of-term examination is for teachers, and it is prescribed in our code of conduct. Unfortunately, who took over certain of end-of-term examination? He is doing that simply because of charging pupils, taking money from them. Can you imagine a school for a term, he can get 10,000, 12,000, 16,000, 8,000, depending upon the population. So after charging the people, that is what he realized. With the service provider, he engaged to set those non-standard questions for our kids, which is bringing the performance of Aglonga district down. And this has been going on for long, about 9 to 10 years now. What we are expecting is the DC should deliver the letter to our president.
Well, Faisal, we'll end it here for now. I appreciate your reporting this afternoon.
Now, we know that on Friday, President John Mahama will deliver the State of the Nation address to Parliament. Across the country, expectations are high. In the Ashanti region, residents, traders, artisans, and industry players say they are looking forward to specific commitment. Ibrahim Abubakar has been engaging them and joins us with details of their expectations. Ibrahim, talk to us. What specific issues do they want the president to address? Ibrahim, you have to unmute for us.
So I was saying that we do know that Ashanti region plays a strategic role in national politics. And for that matter, expectations here are quite important. Ahead of the SONA residents here are looking for clear timelines, measurable commitment, and policies that directly impact their daily lives. For instance, at Swami Magazine, artisans and spare parts dealers are hoping to hear measures that will bring growth and development in their business, and tax relief is one of them. Residents are also raising concerns about stalled road projects within Kumasi and its surrounding district, and they are expecting updates on infrastructure completion timelines. There are others who are also talking about hearing from the president what strategies they have with regards to reducing youth unemployment. And key among these topics also have to do with the fight against galamsey. People want to hear updates and see whether government is making headway in the fight against this menace or not. So generally, people are just expecting that hopefully by Monday, Friday rather, they hear from the president who will talk about result-oriented issues rather than just challenges that they have to talk. Let's listen to what some of the residents have been sharing with you.
We are expecting the government to touch on measures that is going to ensure growth and then development in our markets. Because as it is now, our markets are very low. We want to hear something about our taxes. Before the elections, we met the president. He gave us assurance that he's going to do something about our duties at the ports. And actually, we presented the duties we were paying by then to him. It was there that he promised that he's going to give us the fixed rate. We didn't hear anything about it in the first budget. The second budget came and nothing has been heard about that. Going forward, we want to hear something from the government because despite the fact that the dollar is falling, duties remain high at our ports.
There are a lot of bad roads in Kumasi. We are trusting the president to come to our aid and then come and help us with these roads. We look at the Santasi main road. I mean, go to the small, like everywhere in Kumasi, the roads are bad generally. So that's what I'm expecting government to, President Mahama to address.
We need to also look into how the fight of galamsey, where we have reached so far with it. It is becoming somehow a silent issue in public, but a raging issue in the bush, in the sense that those engaged in it are still perpetuating it. And we have to remind the president that this was basically one of the key issues that brought the previous regime down. And we will be much interested to see him emphasizing on that and more of like reassuring Ghanaians about what is ahead, what he intends to do to really hold the bull by the horn.
As the government has promised to pass a bill for cocoa farmers so that we will get automatic price adjustment, we want to hear something about that.
We still have a lot of youth unemployed.
Some residents from the Ashanti region. Ibrahim, thank you very much. We look forward to that address and the reaction thereafter. Ibrahim Abubakar helping us end Regional Hub.
Ramani Mahama says Ghana's industrial sector is yielding results, strengthening domestic revenue mobilization and reducing dependence on imports. He made the remarks at the sword-cutting ceremony of a new float glass factory and a commissioning of a sanitary ware factory by Keda Ghana Ceramics Company Limited in Shama in the Western region.
This factory is going to be producing 200,000 square meters every day, not every year. Currently, this factory in Shama exports to over 20 countries, including, can you guess, United States. Shama tiles go to the United States market. Shama, you are exporting to Italy. You are exporting to France. You are exporting to Mexico. You are exporting to Peru. And you are exporting to Brazil. For Cote d'Ivoire, ne Burkina Faso, ne wamu de yanka ho. This demonstrates something important, that made in Ghana products can compete globally when quality meets scale. Since 2016, KEDA has been a reliable industrial partner. In 2025 alone, the company contributed, can you guess, 740 million Ghana cedis in taxes alone. Tax Awutriama GRA, the Revenue Authority. 2025, Utria 740 million cedis. Now, so why a float glass factory na kaun? From August next year, at full production, what tax are obetia every shamaha to Ghana Revenue Authority will exceed 1 billion cedis.
Now, the Ministry of Energy has ordered an investigation into the reported fast depletion of prepaid electricity units across the country. The move follows public complaints that recently purchased prepaid credits are running out unusually fast. Some consumers have also shared their concerns with the news team.
The prepaid is too expensive. If you look at my shop, I don't have fun. I have my own meter. I use 2 bulbs. If I buy 60 cedis, I spend less than a week, sometimes 4 days, 5 days, that got finished. I have the same problem in my house too. So the prepaid is too expensive. I don't know if it is the meter or when you buy, they find a way to take something from your money. I don't know.
Yeah, ni patre ni use 1 meter. You turn 2 weeks. No 2 weeks in 300. Na san. Nti aye sama ba kokora janet na yi ni fridge use. Nti ye ze nipa mi nipa na use fridge. Enso so still. Ya ka bo aye to 1 week na 3 days abeto so 300 na san.
Ko he to 100 cedis at least catch a hu e me no use a fridge kome ke fan ke bulb kome we use ko 100 cedis share 2 weeks eta. E share ko e cha hu to mo 9 e share 2 weeks because ko ye 1 week 1 day ko pay fitahi ko 100 cedis so na insha den cheni you the same thing le hu na kan no.
I can buy like 50 Ghana. If I buy 50 Ghana, maybe you not read 1 week, it finish. I don't know whether the meter they get the fault or what. I didn't know. So now you don't know how the person where you go ask. So that is why you keep quiet.
I normally buy like maybe 100 cedis or maybe 70 cedis. But before you realize, it will be like 3 days, 4 days, then it's off. I think it's the meter. I want the government to bring the first one that we normally use.
Oh man, but your prepaid is here the mama actually 50 Ghana, 100 Ghana, 4 days, a chepan 4 days. And chekura sa prepaid you know the say I will say jina we are na jina no e bo word answer na anya sa sika no.
Well, the concerns of the average Ghanaian in terms of electricity is an important part in terms of not just everyday living, but it's a huge aspect in terms of conversations around politics.
I agree.
The doomsday days and all of that. But that's our bulletin for you this afternoon. I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. See you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.